Hi, and welcome to Thursday Comics. Today we're talking about The Mighty Thor, number 156. I'm Tom Scioli, author of Godzilla's Monsterpiece Theater. Issue 2 is in stores now. So this is the big battle issue. Something that normally would have, the entire arc of this story would have been condensed to one issue. That was more sort of typical comic storytelling back then. Maybe even less than one issue. Maybe a feature inside of a comic book that had a couple other stories in it. But this is the maturing of the medium. So instead of having the whole arc happen within one story, you have the story unfold through multiple issues. And now it's the big battle. And so we get some space for it to expand. We're picking up right from where we left off in the previous issue. Mangog's got his claws around Thor. He lifts him up, and Thor whacks him with his hammer a couple of times, and it does no good at all, and only serves to anger the Mangog further. Mangog talks about his past, that Odin had killed his race, and now an awesome price must now be paid for the murder of Mangog's brethren. So, just trying to figure out, what's the story behind the story of Mangog. It seems that Mangog sort of symbolizes some horrible crime that Odin had committed in his early days, in his younger days, in his rise to power. And you can think of all kinds of sort of historical analogs to this sort of dark and dirty days of a rise to power. Now, of course, this is a comic book. Everything's amped up to the 1000th degree. Odin has murdered a billion beings long ago, and Mangog is all that remains of them. It's melodramatic comic book terms. So these billion beings were they were all evil conquerors, according to by Mangog's own admission. So it's still melodrama, justifying this horrible crime, but it's still, Mangog still represents this figure of sort of guilt or vengeance, or this spirit of vengeance for a horrible crime that's been committed. Taken at surface value, it's it's a rip-roaring adventure story, and a big battle ensues. It's a story that has room to breathe, a fight scene that has room to breathe. Mangog has seemingly defeated Thor, so now he's going to finish off the Warriors 3. He was sort of keeping them fresh in this prison that he had constructed. So now they're free, and they each get their moment to fight him. Fandrel's sword is useless against the Mangog. Hogun's mace is about to get a try. We cut back to Loki triumphant. Loki, the God King, back in Asgard. The evil Loki learns how heavy the head that wears the crown. So he's struggling. He's sort of king during a time of trouble and peril, and he's certainly the wrong man for the job. The walls are sort of closing in on him, but he's not too worried, because he talks about no matter how bad things get, he still has his elite guard to protect him. And then his elite guard shows up, and they are completely trashed by the Mangog. Hundreds were by him slain in the space of a dozen heartbeats. So now, Loki's really stressing here. Enough. I must think. And so we cut back to Thor. Thor is not dead. He's badly beaten, laying on a pile of rubble. He's strong. He can fight. He's got his hammer. He can do fisticuffs, but he's also, still am I the god of thunder. Still the wind and the storm are mine to command, and command them I will. And so he is a god, and so he's going to use his godly powers to create a cyclone. This is a really nice moment. Mangog taunts Volstagg. Come back, thou timorous one. Volstagg, timorous? I with the heart of a lion? Thou hast mocked me. Thus I take my leave. I really like that line there. Looking for any excuse to get away from trouble. 'Tis the doing of Thor. We are saved. And so Thor's vortex power, which Darkseid also has, as we see in the final issue of Mr. Miracle. And the storm is battering Mangog, but as powerful as that storm was, it still stands. But that storm was just a portion of Thor's godly birthright. And so he also has bolts of lightning, and he zaps Mangog right in the face. And we get this really nice shot of Mangog being engulfed by this energy, and it builds and builds until the ground erupts like a living volcano. Thor tries to make a break for it. The Warriors 3 are down in a trench, and Thor joins them, and then swings his hammer and flies them all out of this place as it gets completely destroyed. Now we cut back to Asgard. A beautiful splash page of the recorder arriving at Asgard. We saw him being sent out in the previous issue. Now he finally arrives. And Asgard just looks amazing. And there's nothing sort of, medieval or ancient or, Prince Valiant about the way Asgard is depicted, this sort of, ancient home of the gods. It looks highly technological, highly stylized in this splash page. It's just really beautiful. And the recorder just looking amazing, showing his circuitry off. The recorder says that he's a friend of Thor's and he's here to record this Ragnarok that may occur. And Heimdall stops a passing warrior and gives him the job of leading the recorder to the city. The warrior expresses regret because Asgard needs all hands on deck, and he's kind of bummed out that "'tis with heavy heart I do so, for dire peril confronts the realm, and every sword is sorely needed." So he's kind of bummed that he can't fight. He has to babysit the recorder. And we get a little moment with Heimdall where he's musing about the shadow of Ragnarok hanging over everyone. And so now Thor's lightning bolt barrage has completely transformed the environment. Now it's a flaming pit of lava, and the Mangog climbs out, and he really looks like he's taken a beating, but he's still going strong. Grabs a mass of white hot lava, flings it at them. Again, this is an epic right here. Kirby's got room to breathe, and he's taking advantage of every opportunity here to make just a real epic. Thor starts a storm, a blinding rain that washes away the Mangog. Again, cutting to just the effect of this godly power. Thor is a superhero, but he's also something more. He's a god. And these are the ways you sort of differentiate him from a sort of run-of-the-mill superhero. We cut back to the ongoing drama of Balder fighting for his life. Karnilla keeps tempting him, promising him all he has to do is stay there with her, and then everything will be fine. But never. He has to fight to be in Asgard where he is needed. Now we cut to Sif, and she meets up with the recorder as they're watching over the sleeping Odin, the guy who could possibly, solve all these problems if he could only wake up. But to try to wake him from the Odin sleep is to tempt fate that Odin could possibly die from it. And so it is forbidden to wake him from the Odin sleep. And so now we see the Odin sword, also known as the Oversword. It has been set up in previous issues, I think primarily in Tales of Asgard, but this is that sword, that cosmic sword, where if it is unsheathed, the Ragnarok will happen, the end of the universe. What a great angle on it. I mean, who would ever think to draw this sword from this angle? But it just, creates this grand, imposing image, and just the bravery of Sif as she stands guard over it, the recorder taking it all in, and observation, a hush falls over the embattled realm. The moment of destiny is almost upon us. And so the Mangog got washed away. What's become of him? It's quiet for the moment, but no, he's back, and lo must come the ending. So next issue is the grand finale. I believe is possibly Jack Kirby's greatest epic, the Mangog story. I'm Tom Scioli, author of Godzilla's Monsterpiece Theater. Issue 2 is in stores now, and I'll see you next Thursday.